Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. Today we're going to be practicing one of our traditional shapes called the Amphora, and I'll be with you every step of the way to explain our process and how we bring this glass vessel to life. But let's go ahead and head to the studio, we'll go ahead and get started. So first we're going to start off by giving our vase its base color. That's going to be an amethyst, which is basically like a dark purple. So my brother's got a chunk of our color bar out of the color box that's preheated to about 1,000 degrees, and then he's going to start to heat it up in our reheating furnace to where it's nice and molten. We can spread it across our clear bubble. So first off, we're going to get some clear glass out of our furnace. This furnace stays hot 24/7, and it's on at about 2,000 degrees. 2160 is exactly where we run it. So I'm going to rotate my pipe, get a little bit of clear glass, and this will be the base for our shape. So I'm going to use a wooden tool that we have in this bucket to shape up my glass into a nice shape so that our bubble will want to expand evenly. And here in just a moment, I'll blow through the pipe, we'll cap it with my thumb, and the air bubble will shoot out of the end. Awesome. This is what we call putting in the starter bubble. This is the beginning of any vessel. If we're going to make a cup, a bowl, an amphora, anything that can like hold water or flowers or whatever really, you're going to have to put a bubble in at the beginning. So this is a very fundamental step. Now we seem to have picked up a little bit of crud, just like some kiln shelf is what it's called. It's kind of like a powder that's a separator from the ceramic shelf that we preheated this glass on. So I'm going to use my tweezers and then use my scissors, kind of cut it out because we don't have a chunk of ceramic in our piece.
It's doing pretty well, but somebody commented on it and they were like,
so now my brother's going to use our marvering table to shape the glass up into a nice kind of diamond shape, and I'll take this and we'll smear it across my clear bubble to give us a nice layer of even color. This process of applying color bar to a clear bubble is what we call a color overlay.
Comments on there from other people and they're like, what are you talking about? Thank you, sir. Looks good.
So the basic idea of a color overlay is that we have a cold base, which is my clear bubble, and then we have hot color that we put on top. So now I'll heat the color up just a little bit more, and while my clear bubble is nice and cold, we can spread that color all across the bubble so we get a nice even layer.
Awesome.
Alright, so that looks pretty good, and now we have a nice even layer of that amethyst color, so we're going to go ahead and get our second layer of clear. So I'll take a second gather, stick my pipe into the furnace, slowly turn, and then come out with a new layer of clear on top of our color.
And I'm going to strip.
And so I came out with a little bit more glass than I wanted, so we're going to strip a little bit off. This is what we call a strip gather. I kind of just go vertical and then let the molten glass kind of trail off, and I can pick exactly how much glass I want to leave.
Awesome.
So now that we have our new layer of glass, we're going to start to inflate the bubble that we put in previously. So I'm going to use my newspaper tool, which cools down the sections of the glass I don't want to inflate. I'll have my brother Luke blow through the pipe, and the glass will start to inflate a little bit. For our design today, we're going to add some canes to the outside of it, and I need our glass to be a certain size, so I'm using this pie divider to figure out exactly how much glass I need, and we'll go ahead and take our final gather.
Coming out. Cooled pipe. Thank you.
So you'll notice we use these wooden tools every time we get a new layer of glass. This basically gives us a second to cool down the outside with the water that's soaked into this block while the inside starts to heat up. All of that 2000 degree glass can kind of soak into the middle. We want everything to flow together. We want it all to be homogeneous. We want it all to be one.
Can you skip this song, Luke?
So now we're back to our newspaper tool. This is one of my favorite tools to use, by the way. It really helps to manipulate the bubble and push it into whatever area you really want.
Off. Thank you. I got it.
So now we're getting ready to add our canes to the outside of our glass. So we're going to pick up this ribbed plate that's been preheated, and on this plate we have a lot of different canes that are pink and purple that have a lot of different intricate designs on them. So we're going to take a quick heat on this, and then I'll start to heat my glass up a little bit too, and I'll roll across these canes and pick them up onto the outside of my glass.
Okay. Okay. Let's see how this goes.
So that went really well. The timing here really matters. We need to make sure the canes are hot enough for me to pick up, and we also need to make sure that the outside of my base that we rolled it up onto is hot enough to pick them up without trapping any bubbles in between them. And now that they're applied to the outside of the glass, this begins the process of melting them in so that everything is, again, the same heat, all fused together correctly.
Yeah. Trapped in this place. Take my place. Ain't no way nowhere. I'm going out that front door. Might be old man, I don't know. Baby, I just don't know. Woo! Yeah, it's cool. That was someday, baby, it ain't gonna show up.
Alright, so now that everything is fused together, it's nice and hot, I'm going to use my jacks to start to terminate the end of this so that all the canes run together at the bottom of the piece and we have a nice even pattern.
Thank you. We'll get rid of this. Oh my god, of course. Alright.
Alright, and with that, we have finished our design, everything is put together well, we have as much glass as we're going to add, and now we can start to turn it into our amphora shape.
Whoa. And just stand there.
The traditional amphora shape has a kind of tapered body with a hard shoulder and a kind of angular V-shaped lip. So we're going to use the marvering table right here as well as the newspaper to start to inflate our body and give it that hard shoulder.
right, you can blow. All right, off. Looks good. You can blow. All right, off. Trying to push that bubble down. You can blow. Going to Carolina. Just a little bit of air and we'll get ready for a jack line. And you can blow. Blow, blow, blow. All right, off. Thank you, sir. Ready.
So you can see we've inflated this piece quite a lot. It has our preferred tapered shape, and the widest point of the piece is going to be right where we're going to try to put the shoulder in. So now we're going to prepare to add the neck, which will be the fluted kind of top of the vase.
Give it some length every time because I've lost all my color up here, you know, and I want that to be where we kind of go for it, a little farther down.
This move is called putting in the jack line. So the tool I have in my hand is called the jacks, and we're going to put a small incision right off the tip of the pipe, and this is where we're going to start to pull away from the piece to add our neck.
All right, you can come down. Maybe torch it first. Yeah. Give me another heat, a quick one, and come back, give me an angle, I'll go.
So now we're putting in our second jack line. The first jack line we put in was so that we could establish the shoulder and begin to put in the neck. Now this second one will be the place on the piece where we're going to break it off once we transfer it to a new pipe.
All right, blow for me. All right, awesome. This looks pretty good.
So now we're getting ready to transfer this from one pipe to a different one. So we're going to do some final inflations, some last minute modifications to the piece. We'll establish the bottom, flatten it out a little bit, and then we'll get ready to transfer it from this pipe to the next one.
Well, the biggest thing Etsy is supposed to bring you is shoppers that can't find you.
Exactly.
So it's like if they're not.
Yeah, it's getting wider than I want it to be. Go on real light. All right, off. Okay. All right, you can go on. How's it look?
It looks good.
Cool. Okay.
Not super sharp, but
It's okay. I'll cold work it. We'll go ahead and punny. You want to help me take this off real quick? Thank you. My arm's just so sweaty.
Alright, so now it's time for our transfer. My brother has a second pipe that's just a solid piece of metal, basically, and we've got a small bit of glass that's collected on the end. This is going to act as a sort of glue bit so that we can transfer it to this pipe and get rid of our old one. We have a small amount of time to make sure that this is right on center so that the piece stays symmetrical before that little bit that's really hot right now will cool down. So now that we're on, we'll add a little bit of water where exactly I want the piece to break. I can pull it back onto the rails, give it a tap with my tweezers, and we're off. So that went really well. The transfer can kind of be a tense moment sometimes. If the piece is going to break, that's usually right around when it does. But we've made it through really well, so it's looking good. So now we're going to start a process called trimming. Basically, I've heated up the lip of our piece, and I'm going to use my tweezers to start to slowly pull it away and thin it out. I'll then go ahead and use my shears here in a second, and we'll start to cut away all the excess glass that's on the lip of the piece.
Oh, I'm spiraling, aren't I?
So that trim was a little ugly, but it came out all right. I'm a left-handed glassblower, so some of these tools are still a little foreign to me in my right hand. The shears are some that always give me a hard time. But we have a nice thin lip now, and we can start to put the final touches on the piece.
You can grab it.
This tool my brother is about to use is called the Sophietta. Basically, you can put it on the lip of the piece and then blow, and it'll inflate the piece from the inside.
We'll do that again. And blow. Off. Thank you. Okay. We blast the punny, and then last thing we'll just open it. Kind of caving in. All right, give me a puff. Yes, sir, that looks great. Okay, last thing, we'll, All right, let me take a look. That's it. Let's get it off of here.
All right, so we're basically done with our piece, but we've got one or two last things to do before we're actually done. We're going to have to break the piece off of the pipe, and we're going to have to transfer it to one of our annealing ovens to cool. So my brother has some Kevlar gloves on, and here in just a moment, we're going to break it off into his gloves, and we'll transport it to the annealer. We apply some water right around the area we want it to break off at, but try really hard not to get any water on the bottom of our piece, and then we can give the pipe a small tap, and we're away. So this annealing oven is basically going to cool the glass down over about 12 hours. So we'll come back in the morning and see our final piece. And here's our final product. I'm really happy with how this came out. This Amphora shape is a new one to me. It's a traditional shape, but it's a new one that I've been practicing here and there. And I'm really starting to feel a lot more confident with how these come out. I love the color. I love the canes. It looks fantastic. I'm really, really happy with how this came out. So if you're interested in purchasing this piece, you can find it on my website, either my personal website or my Etsy, and there's a link in the description box down below. But thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. I appreciate all you guys so much, and we'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one.